Hey guys, it's Jen. I'm coming to you from a coffee shop and it's going to be loud, so bear with me. Jordan is still sick, so that's why he's not doing the stream today. He's actually feeling really, really bad. Uh, been sleeping, which is not like him. So today I will be covering Biden and Chelsea Manning and some other things. First of all, first things first, smash that like button because that's how we get more viewers to see us. And again, just like yesterday, forgive my hair, forgive my lack of makeup, forgive everything. I'm still running around DC, finally got my passport. And if you haven't watched it, go ahead and watch the pro widow rally from yesterday. It's kind of interesting, coming from the other side and seeing what they're saying. I obviously don't agree with it. I'm not pro widow. Uh, and it was very interesting to see the fact that they were wearing Trump hats and things, but putting it with like "Make Venezuela Great Again," but it was the Trump style hat, which was, disturbing in many cases. That and forgive me too for I'll be looking off screen a little bit to refresh myself on the notes. I was actually in the passport office for 3.5 hours, I believe. So I'm totally exhausted. I'm not so sure my brain still works, but we'll give it a try. All right. So if you aren't aware, Joe Biden is 95% sure that he's going to be running. And people have mixed feelings about that, except for the polls. Depending on which one you look at, they have Biden coming in first in the polls. And a lot of people dispute that, but, he is a popular figure. He is known as this kind of jolly good guy. But when you look under the surface, it's not as quite as great. So I'm actually from Delaware, and Biden was, kind of like the Delaware hero. He was our only good thing back then to come out of Delaware. Again, until you look deeper and realize that he was the one who wrote the crime bill that President Bill Clinton put into action. So there are things like that that will be coming out when he decides to run, and I'm pretty sure he's going to. So today we'll talk about his latest, not his latest gaffe, because this was many years ago that he had these terrible opinions. And what I'm talking about is race. So to start with, I'll read a tweet from Andrew Kaczynski. And he said, reviewing Joe Biden's record on crime, we found a speech where he said, I don't care. It doesn't matter what the root causes of crime are. Consensus is criminals need to be immediately locked up because society doesn't know how to rehabilitate. That quote is not as bad. That quote from Andrew Kaczynski is not quite as bad as what I'm going to get into, but that's kind of a framework. So, and then actually Jordan tweeted, can you imagine if in 1975, Bernie Sanders came out saying what Joe Biden said, the black man we've suppressed for 300 years shouldn't get a head start over the white man to even the race. Obviously, corporate media would demand that Bernie drop out. Corporate media would demand that pretty much anyone except for, the establishment favorites drop out. This is terrible. He's saying that it seems like he's saying supposedly we've suppressed black people for 300 years. He says, but it doesn't matter. We don't need to give them a head start. AKA, he doesn't agree with reparations, which is going to be a major, major topic in this year's campaign season. It's, Bernie's already gotten in trouble for it. He gave a terrible answer when it comes to reparations. So when you dig into Biden's record, it's even worse. And I don't think I said it, but if you haven't donated to our GoFundMe, please do that while I'm thinking of it. The Status Quo GoFundMe. Smash that like button once again. So here, let's go through a little bit more background. So Biden said in a 1975 interview with a local newspaper, it was probably the News Journal or something, that's Delaware's biggest paper, that he opposed the concept of reparations as it pertained to busing. So he was very anti-busing. And busing is when the idea back then, and it didn't really work anyway, but it was worth a shot, was to bus black children into predominantly white schools and to bus white children into predominantly black schools. So I don't know what your thoughts are on that, but Biden was very anti-busing. And here we go with the full Biden quote that Jordan hinted at. He said, "I do not buy the concept, popular in the 60s, which said, we have suppressed the black man for 300 years, and the white man is now far ahead in the race for everything our society offers. In order to even the score, we must now give the black man a head start, or even hold the white man back to even the race." I don't buy that. I can't think of many more racist things to say. I don't care that this was a long time ago. That is a terrible thing to say. I'm sure he's, quote, evolved somewhat, but that's awful. It's just terrible. And if this doesn't hurt him in the race once he enters, then there's something terribly wrong. And everyone needs to pay attention to this. Again, imagine if Bernie had said this years ago. They would crush him. They would absolutely crush him. Imagine Tulsi, she'd be double crushed. But Biden, other than CNN, kudos to them because they actually did cover it. And kudos to others who are covering it, but it still hasn't made as big of a splash as it should. And he also, so this is the Washington Post, this quote, he played down the persistence of overt racism and suggested that the government should have a limited role in integration. So he just wanted to kind of leave it as a free-for-all and not have any say, not have the government have any say. But we know what happens when you just allow racist, violent people to go do whatever they want to do. You know what happens when Black people and other people of color are treated differently than white people. That's just a fact, and it's still a fact. And Biden went on to say, "I don't feel responsible for what the situation is today, for the sins of my own generation, and I'll be damned if I feel responsible to pay for what happened 300 years ago." Again, a terrible, unbelievable statement. He doesn't feel responsible. Maybe he hasn't overtly done anything racist, but he has because of these statements. But it doesn't matter because that's our history. That's what our country was founded upon, was racism and slavery and terrible things, and it continues to this day. And it continued through the Bill Clinton presidency because Biden wrote the crime bill. It's a very racist bill, a very terrible bill. Biden, of course, declined to be interviewed for the WAPO article. And Biden also said that, if anything, it would be racist to implement the busing plans, that the busing plans are racist. So he's saying that integration is racist. No. And that, Trump would say something like that. But Biden, he gets away with it. And again, he drafted the crime bill. And not only did he do that, and you could say, oh, that was in 1994. He's evolved again. Someone might say that. But he said he had no regrets as late as 2016. So Biden has a lot to answer for. I want to explain a little bit about what the crime bill is in case you're not as familiar with that, because it was in 1994. We're still reaping the repercussions today. It's the largest crime bill in history, and it was the history of the United States, excuse me. It was 356 pages that provided for 100,000 new police officers, $9.7 billion in funding for prevention programs, a federal assault weapons ban, which is a good thing, and it also expanded the federal death penalty. It led to things like overcrowding. It led to things like more racism, more targeting of Black and brown people to toss them in jail. Jail is a modern day form of slavery, and it's really the crime bill that led to a worsening. It's always been bad. Racism has always been bad. The way Black people are treated has always been bad. But the crime bill was really a turning point where the criminalization of absolutely everything that Black and brown people do and did, it just It took over. And again, Biden was responsible for that. Before I continue, remember to please, please donate to our GoFundMe. We are very, very close to hitting $50,000, and that's our big, big goal. A lot of you don't know that Jordan doesn't even take money or payment from the company because he believes in it so much. He is right now living off of his savings. And so that's why we're really, really pushing the GoFundMe, because we need to raise the money. Jordan needs to start taking money. He works 7 days a week, and he works all day long, all night long in some cases. So please donate to the GoFundMe, whether it's $5, $27, shout out to Bernie, or $100, whatever you can afford. Please, please help us get to $50,000. And there are a lot of you watching right now, so please smash that like button. Smash it, smash it, smash it like it's the crime bill. Biden also has some complicated relationships where he supports people who not only have different views than he does, but have terrible, awful views that they won't back away from. For example, he has a strong relationship with former Senator Jesse Helms. And Jesse Helms is an extremely bigoted person. He's never apologized for his bigotry or anything he's said or done. And Biden still stands by him. And that's not the only example at all. It's just disgusting, and it's come to a point where we really, really have to call these things out. It's not okay. It doesn't matter how long ago it was. It is not okay. So Biden may seem like this jolly guy. Everyone feels sorry for him because his son died, and that is very, very sad. He's had a hard life. I believe it was his ex-wife, and I don't want to get it wrong, but I think another child who died in a car crash a while back. He's had a hard life. He's had a lot of things go wrong. He seems like a guy's guy, friendly to all. But I think he is a wolf in sheep's clothing. He has racist ideas and he doesn't realize it. Either he doesn't realize it, or he doesn't care, or he believes in those things so strongly he knows he just can't say it, out loud anymore. So who knows what he really believes these days? It doesn't matter, in my opinion. The things he said are so horrendous. I can't imagine anyone voting for him. It's shocking and sad. And he's also kept company, again, with people who are racist. But for some reason, Biden is known as being some kind of civil rights hero in some circles. And he's actually worked a lot with civil rights leaders and just had his hands in that and kind of, I don't want to say pretended to be on team civil rights, but with him saying things like that, it has to be pretending. He just can't get it. He can't understand it. Or I can't understand it, let's say that. He's going to have to be held to account. So you might think, oh, that's all, that's it. There's no more about Biden. There's no more racist things that he said or did. Well, that's wrong, because he has said more. So CNN has pulled up, and again, kudos to CNN for actually covering this. In a 1993 speech, Biden warned of predators in our streets who were beyond the pale. I keep saying it, but this statement might be the most racist. It seems like each one is more racist than the last. And he said this while he was pushing the crime bill and believed that these, quote, predators in our streets needed to be cordoned off from the rest of society because the justice system did not know how to rehabilitate them. This is as bad, maybe even worse. It's not for me to judge, it's for Black people to judge what's worse, or maybe it doesn't even matter because they're both so terrible. This is as bad as Hillary's super predators comment, and she got a lot of hell for that, and as well she should have. Now Biden saying that these predators in our streets need to be cordoned off from the rest of our society, that's obviously why he wrote the crime bill the way he did. He just wanted to lock up Black and brown people for minor crimes, sometimes for nothing at all. to get them out of the way, to get them off the street. It's absolutely disgusting. You know, it turns my stomach even reading these quotes. And I hope beyond hope that he does not run, because he doesn't deserve to run. He he's racist. You know, he shouldn't win. He shouldn't run. People need to know this information, and more people need to talk about it. More journalists need to talk about it. He's perpetuated harmful myths about the Black community. He also, and this is something I'm not ready to report yet, but I will hint at it because I've seen enough evidence of this. He has a history of what some deem to be extremely inappropriate behavior around women and children. By inappropriate behavior, I mean hugging too closely, sitting too closely, kissing too friendly, things he should not be doing because it's uncomfortable. And in many cases, when you look at pictures of the girls and children that he's hugging and kissing, they're very uncomfortable. The women, very uncomfortable. So if Biden gets away with that, it's just another example of, he may look like a nice guy, he may smile like a nice guy, but he has these things, these racist ideas, these racist actions, and these disgusting, what some consider to be sexual assault or harassment. Again, I'm not ready to report that or say that's what I think it is, but I'm ready to say that I've seen videos, and women and children were made to be uncomfortable in that moment. Okay, so again, smash that like button. On Biden, it's a really important point that there are different standards for different candidates. You have Bernie Sanders, who was literally marching with Martin Luther King Jr., and then you have Biden, who literally wrote the crime bill. And yet Biden is, in some cases, 60% favorability in the polls for who's going to win the Democratic nomination. So it's scary to me. It's scary to me that more people don't know this. I'm going to be doing some more digging on him. And I'll say a personal anecdote is that my grandfather, again, I said I'm from Delaware, my grandfather ran in the same social circles as Biden for a number of years, and he was not a fan. And Lordy, do I wish that my grandfather was around for me to ask questions of, because I'd love to know why he disliked Biden so much. So leave, keep commenting on this. Let us know what you think about Biden, what you think about his overt racism, and what you think maybe about his creepiness. If you've seen some of those videos that I'm talking about, and what do you think should be done? Do you think that the corporate media is going to pick up on this and run with it, or are they going to sit on it for the most part? Like, if CNN's digging up this stuff right now, but are they going to bury it soon? Are they going to stop talking about it? Is anyone else going to talk about it or keep digging? Because there's stuff to be found. If it was so easy for them to find this information, then it's got to be very easy for people to find more information and see things Biden said and did and didn't do and still does and still thinks. I don't have any more to say on that really right now, except it hurts my heart that this guy is considered to be a good guy and he is so racist. So again, donate to our GoFundMe. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but we really need you to, because status quo needs to get back out in the field. We need to cover campaign 2020. We need to give Bernie a fair shake, Tulsi a fair shake. We need to get out there and report on pipeline battles, and not just sit in coffee shops or sit in apartments or sit in our houses and report from home. We love doing that, but it's so much more important to get out there. And we will keep talking about the truth. some might be scared to report on this Biden stuff. We're not scared. We will report on whatever the truth is and whatever we find important for you, for everyone. Okay, so the next topic is Chelsea Manning. And as you guys know, Chelsea recently got out of jail. And she was in jail for a long time because she uncovered the horrors of the Iraq and Afghan wars, and she sent a video to Wikileaks. She was a whistleblower, and she was punished very harshly for that. So Natasha Leonard on Twitter, who works for The Intercept, tweeted this today. Chelsea Manning has been remanded into federal custody without charge or conviction for refusing to comply with a grand jury. So, as I said, Chelsea Manning recently got out of jail, but now she's been thrown back in jail. And it is entirely unfair and completely horrifying. And it is actually helping to shine a light on the horrors of the grand jury system in general. So, here's some background. Chelsea Manning was subpoenaed to appear before a federal grand jury and give testimony on March 5th. So that was just a couple of days ago. And she obviously was not going to comply with that subpoena. Anyone who's followed Chelsea figured that, because that's the type of person she is. She's not going to appear to give testimony against WikiLeaks. And so she filed a motion to quash the subpoena. Unfortunately, that did not work. And so they moved forward with it. March 5th came and went, and now she's been tossed in jail again. And let's get into some background of why she was in jail before. In 2010, she was arrested, court-martialed, imprisoned, and tortured for exposing the horrors and the worst crimes and brutalities of the Iraq and Afghan wars. She was released in 2017, so 2 years ago. And many of you might remember that she was actually suicidal when she was in jail, because she was tortured and she tried to commit suicide, and things are very scary for her in jail. So being put back in jail, not being, not, in my opinion, not doing anything wrong, not being convicted of anything. She's there until the until the grand jury is over, or until she decides to spill the beans on WikiLeaks. Sometimes when you're subpoenaed for a jury trial, the judge can choose to let you go, even if you don't testify, even if the grand jury is not yet over. But this judge seems to be a real dick. Excuse my French. So she has to stay in there for now, which is just awful. And as a person, I'm hoping that she does not become suicidal, that she has good support around her, and that this goes as well as it can. She's being really strong and tough. She's standing up for WikiLeaks and the truth. And by the way, WikiLeaks is a journalistic organization. So essentially, she's been thrown in jail because she won't testify against a journalistic entity. She won't testify against Julian Assange. So Manning's decision to fight her subpoena is an act of resistance against repression and in defense of a free press. And that's something that's very important to remember, and that everyone should remember. But the decision to subpoena her to begin with is punitive. And, Obama wasn't great with Chelsea Manning. He pardoned her, but there was a lot of bad before that, a lot. And now we have the Trump organization, who really despises Chelsea. And this is a sign of a hostile administration, a very hostile administration. I'm sure that Trump wants to do worse to her. And she didn't do anything wrong at all. She's just living her life. She already gave all the information at a different time, which I'll talk more about as well. And again, Trump has tweeted that Chelsea should be seen as a hostile traitor. Of course not. She is not a traitor. She was a whistleblower for good. And now the military was put under scrutiny, and for very good reason. And hopefully this has helped lead to cleaning their act up. Obviously, it probably, unfortunately, only did a little bit of good, not any fault of Chelsea's, but just because the military is so corrupt and the government is so corrupt. And Chelsea gave a statement as well. And she has a support group. And so the support group is tweeting for her and put out this statement for her. So she said, I object strenuously to this subpoena and to the grand jury process in general. We've seen this power abused countless times to target political speech. I have nothing to contribute to this case, and I resent being forced to endanger myself by participating in this predatory practice. And what she's talking about as a predatory practice is the grand jury process in general, because people can be subpoenaed and made to give testimony and made to give away intelligence that they're not entitled to. Grand juries are also closed to the press, public, and attorneys of those who've been subpoenaed. And so the Sparrow Project tweeted about this, about the judge. His name is Judge Hilton. Judge Hilton stated that she's in there until she purges or to the end of the life of the grand jury. It's unbelievable. So we don't know how long she'll be in there. We don't know how long this grand jury will be going on. It was kind of speculated, oh, is this about Wikileaks or not? Now we know, yeah, it's about Wikileaks. And Wikileaks, if you look at their Twitter, they're tweeting a lot about it. They're very supportive of Chelsea. And Chelsea does have a lot of support online, but the fact that she's back in jail is not acceptable. Wikileaks has tweeted, Chelsea Manning jailed for refusing to testify on WikiLeaks and Assange. Whistleblowers are now being forced to testify against journalists and sent to jail when they don't cooperate. And here we have Politico saying, former Army intelligence analyst, U.S. District Judge Claude Hilton ordered Manning to jail after a brief hearing in which Manning confirmed she has no plan to testify. She's sticking to her guns. She said she will accept whatever you bring upon me. So there she is, staying strong, even though jail is particularly tough for her because of what she's gone through. Manning has said she objects to the secrecy of the grand jury process. As I said, we didn't even know if it was about WikiLeaks, but now it's been mostly confirmed that it is about WikiLeaks, this grand jury. And she's already revealed everything she knows at her court-martial. So she's saying, I've already told you this information. Now you've subpoenaed me. I don't believe in it. I don't believe in the grand jury, and I'm not going to testify. Her lawyers also tried to get her home confinement instead of jail, and the judge didn't go for that. So this guy is vindictive. This administration is vindictive for sure. Glenn Greenwald tweeted, this is disgusting, and all due to the efforts of the DOJ to criminalize the publication of classified information in order to prosecute WikiLeaks and Assange. Something all press, freedom groups, major newspapers, and even the Obama DOJ said would be a major threat. Sorry, my handwriting got bad there. So Chelsea is standing up for herself. A lot of people like Glenn Greenwald and Freedom of the Press organizations, people like Cassandra Fairbanks, Freedom for Assange, all the people who surround Julian Assange and support him also support Chelsea. So she has online support, but that doesn't help when you're stuck in jail. It just doesn't. I don't know what's going to happen. Nobody knows what's going to happen. WikiLeaks also tweeted that Manning is not jailed as a punishment. She is formally been jailed to coerce her into testifying against our journalists, including Assange, for publishing the truth about the U.S. government. She will remain in jail until she breaks and complies or wins an appeal. So there's a chance that she could appeal. It doesn't seem likely, but there's a little bit of hope. because this grand jury is about WikiLeaks, I expect it will go on for a while. So it's sad. It's I just keep thinking about one of the days on Twitter soon after she got out of jail. Either she posted some kind of suicidal message, or someone in her orbit posted that she was suicidal and that she was going to the hospital. And my heart just sank, because it seems like the people who are really good in this world are the most punished and who get the most bows and arrows. It's just, it's unbelievable and it's disgusting. Chelsea Manning is a hero. She's not a traitor at all. She's a true hero. And we all need to do everything we can. I know I said that online support doesn't matter, but I don't mean it. I'm just saying it doesn't help Chelsea feel better. It absolutely does matter when it comes to getting the word out, and when it comes to putting pressure on those in power. So, go ahead on Twitter, go ahead on Facebook, spread the word about what's going on, because this story is going to be dropped and Chelsea's going to be in jail. I'm going to end early and only do a half-hour stream today because the coffee shop is loud. And I actually have to drive back home now to Maryland. And then I'm headed to Chincoteague for the weekend because it's my son's birthday month. So I hope you're all well. Please think about what we talked about with Biden and what we talked about with Chelsea Manning, and do what you can to spread the word for these undercovered stories. And I promise we'll be back. We'll cover some more undercovered stories, and we will keep on the progress with Chelsea Manning. We'll keep on with what's going on with WikiLeaks. We'll keep on talking about Joe Biden and his overt and awful racism. Again, we need your help with the GoFundMe. If you can please donate to the Status Quo GoFundMe, $5, $10, 27 Bernie dollars, $100. We're really, really trying hard to get to 50,000. So go ahead and do that. If you haven't yet, smash that like button. All right, this has been Jen, and I will return later, and hopefully Jordan will be feeling better. Bye-bye.